trends is trying to come up with a publisher strategy for the sort of subscription tiering, whether your ad-supported tier is a product in and of itself, or if it's a funnel to the more premium subscription tier, like it's a sort of first step in the door. And then depending on that, you either sort of change the way you monetize. You either monetize insofar that you want to basically get the most amount of money per ad break and insert the most number of ads you can before you see a drop off in engagement, because then you sort of hit the maximum you can. That doesn't really lend well to the funnel approach, because people basically stick at that tier basically forever. But if you do have a sort of funnel approach and you want to graduate people from sort of an ad-supported tier into a more kind of expensive sort of premium ad-free or lower ad tier, then you really want to play around with the ad load. And as a publisher, you want to be very discerning in how many ads you show, and also when you promote your own internal products. So you might, instead of showing paid advertisement, you show a promotion to say, well, you've watched like 15 episodes in the last week. If you graduate to this next tier, then you can see all of this ad-free, and then have a call to action that allows them to quickly graduate. And
so at Pluto, we're spending a lot of time thinking about and optimizing for the ad experience. We know that ad insertion can be jarring the viewer, to your point, and we're also looking at how to make context-aware, scene-aware ad decisions. But given that Pluto has a lot of these virtual linear live channels, which are really just playlists of VOD content, we can go a little bit step further. So we can take a look at where the potential ad breaks are and give everybody who's watching a different ad experience. We can say, this viewer, we know they tend to drop out if they get too many ad breaks, so let's skip this ad break for this particular viewer. So every single person on the Pluto TV system who is watching one of these virtual linear channels actually gets a highly personalized experience for their content and for their ad breaks. So we can work out which ad breaks.
Prefetching. So imagine it's like a Super Bowl type event or presidential election. The question we get asked is like, well, why don't you just use all of the time in between the ad breaks to go and opportunistically fetch all of the ads that the viewer could possibly watch, hold them kind of within the media tailor service, and then that is sort of the bit that absorbs the load. And yes, we do that. That's a great thing to do. But you need to be careful, because if you go out to the DSPs and basically say, decision this impression and give me back an ad, but then do not play the ad, the agency or the advertiser that's bought that impression has their spend locked up, and then they can't go and buy other impressions. And if you then don't actually render the ad and never send back the impression that it was played, then they've had this like huge opportunity.
We transcode every single new ad that we ever get. And so all of the ads that are shown have a matching video and audio ladder to the content that is being stitched in with. That also allows us to normalize the audio levels as well, so we don't have that jarring, loud
really cool innovation, I guess I can talk about a little bit, is the concept of like a multi-request. So if you imagine an ad break that's coming up, you could, in a lot of cases, assume that the very first ad will be at least, like the ad break that's coming up will be at least, let's say, 30 seconds. And the first ad is pre-sold. So you don't really have that issue of having to go get like a programmatic guaranteed or something like that. So you could like make a request for the first ad, and then while that ad is playing, go and decision the rest of that ad break. So that kind of gives you the best of both worlds.
Pluto has like half a dozen, if not more, news channels on the service, and all of them were showing the debates at the same time. And so, you get to the ad break, and we got, these hundreds of thousands of Pluto viewers on concurrently, and they're all hitting the ad break at the same time. So yeah, there were spikes. There were definitely spikes in requests for ads. And so the lesson you can learn from this is, you can check out your own infrastructure as much as you want. You can do all the scale tests, and you can get your own infrastructure scaled up and managing and handling the traffic load. Downstream from you, you're working with third parties. If they're not scaled up, they're going to fall over. And what we saw during these presidential debates is that, some of the DSPs that were making the ad requests out to just couldn't. and they're timing out or they're sending back empty responses. So again, it had to be very resilient to all of this.